The next 72 hours are critical not only for Venezuela, but for the global balance of power. What unfolds during this narrow window may determine whether the world is entering a new phase of geopolitical realignment driven by energy control, economic leverage, and strategic coercion. Venezuela, long viewed as a regional crisis or humanitarian concern, now stands at the intersection of great power competition, where outcomes reverberate far beyond Latin America. If the United States succeeds in imposing decisive control over Venezuela, politically, economically, or indirectly through aligned leadership, it would represent a profound shift in global power dynamics. Venezuela possesses the world's largest proven oil reserves, a fact that elevates its importance from a troubled state to a strategic prize. Control over these reserves would not primarily serve the stated goals of restoring democracy or defending human rights, narratives often emphasized in official discourse. Rather, it would function as a means of reasserting American dominance over global energy flows, securing critical trade routes, and reshaping regional alliances in a manner favorable to U.S. strategic interests. Such an outcome would have immediate and far-reaching implications for U.S. foreign policy priorities, particularly regarding Iran. With Venezuelan oil effectively under American influence, Washington would significantly reduce its vulnerability to energy disruptions in the Persian Gulf. The Gulf region has long been a strategic choke point, where any major conflict, especially with Iran, could send shockwaves through global markets. Control over a vast, reliable supply of heavy crude from Venezuela would provide the United States with a critical buffer against supply shocks, enabling it to weather disruptions caused by sabotage, blockades, or outright war in the Middle East. This energy security cushion would fundamentally alter the cost-benefit calculus of confrontation with Iran. If U.S. policymakers believe that the global economy, and by extension domestic political stability, can absorb the loss of Gulf energy infrastructure, military escalation becomes more politically viable. The economic penalties of war would be reduced, making sustained pressure, sanctions, or even direct military action against Iran more manageable. In this sense, Venezuela becomes an indirect enabler of broader strategic ambitions, lowering the barriers to conflict elsewhere. At the same time, American control over Venezuelan oil would enhance Washington's ability to shape global oil markets. By influencing production levels, export destinations, and pricing mechanisms, the United States could reinforce the central role of the dollar in energy transactions. This would help preserve the petrodollar system, which remains a cornerstone of U.S. financial power. The continued dominance of the dollar in global energy trade allows the United States to sustain deficits, impose sanctions with extraordinary reach, and exert influence over international financial institutions. Venezuela, therefore, is not just about oil, it is about the architecture of global finance. Under these conditions, Venezuela ceases to be merely a regional concern. It becomes a strategic precedent, a demonstration of how economic pressure, political engineering, and, if necessary, force can be deployed to restructure sovereign states. The message sent to the rest of the world will be unmistakable. Resistance to U.S.-led, economic and political frameworks carry severe consequences, while alignment offers access, stability, and protection. Such a precedent would influence the calculations of other energy-rich or strategically positioned nations weighing their relationships with Washington. However, this trajectory is far from guaranteed. If the United States becomes deeply entangled in Venezuela and encounters sustained domestic resistance, international pushback, or prolonged instability, the strategic picture shifts dramatically.